I'm Gordon Goldsborough, a professor of biology at the University of Manitoba. Why am I outside recording this video? Because I'm positive this is where Jennifer would have wanted me to be. She was a tireless advocate on behalf of outdoor education. She believed firmly and passionately that learning about the natural world required immersing oneself in it. Sitting in a warm, dry classroom was simply not a satisfactory alternative. The Delta Marsh Field Station, about 90 minutes northwest of Winnipeg, sat between two vast ecosystems, Lake Manitoba and Delta Marsh. For the first 20 years of its existence, Jennifer championed the field station as an ideal place for education and research in the environmental sciences. I readily acknowledge that she made possible the experience that changed my life. As an undergraduate student who was unsure what he wanted to do as a career, I initially looked at a mandatory course at Delta Marsh as an undue draw on my precious time and meager resources. My attitude quickly changed as I realized how precious and rare it was to be able to take classes outdoors, to see plants and animals as they really were, not enclosed and preserved in some campus laboratory. It was a personal epiphany that made me realize how inadequate my education would be without a meaningful field experience. I followed Jennifer's lead and eventually took over her position as director of the Delta Marsh Field Station, and I'm proud to say that in my 14 years in that position, hundreds, if not thousands of people were given the same opportunity that I had. I'm hopeful that many of them will cherish that experience. I would like to think they will also realize that they benefited, directly or indirectly, from the caring and committed teacher, researcher, mentor, and community advocate that was Jennifer Shay.
Eira Friesen was born in 1917. She attended the University of Manitoba and graduated in 1939 with a bachelor's degree in science and was awarded the Lady Stick for Science in that year. Eira worked as a microbiologist in Victoria, Winnipeg, and Halifax until 1944 when she married Reinhard Friesen and returned to Winnipeg. Eira then turned her attention to homemaking and raising children like so many women of her generation did. It was during that time that Eira originated the Y Neighbors program, which brought stay-at-home moms and preschoolers together for exercise, mutual support, and community. The program was so successful that it soon spread citywide, and it remains so today. While doing research in social services, Eira recognized a need, the result of which was the opening in April 3rd, 1973, of the Winnipeg YWCA Women's Resource Center, the first of its kind in Manitoba. Eira, or Babs as she was known to everyone, worked as a volunteer full-time at the Resource Center for over 30 years. Eira believed in a local to global approach to her advocacy work. Volunteering locally Saturday mornings, mentoring immigrant women, to serving on the executive of the UN Platform for Action Committee and traveling to women's conferences all around the world. When interviewed later in life, Eira claimed, and I quote, "She was not a rabid feminist. She just wanted to see equality for women, equal pay, the breaking of the glass ceiling, and everything to do with the promotion of women." In addition to all her work toward the advancement of women, Eira also volunteered with the Salvation Army, the United Way, Meals on Wheels, and Westminster United Church, as well as so many numerous groups, too many to mention. Eira's volunteer work was her life's work. She was a very generous person in a quiet way, never wanting to be the boss, only wanting to help facilitate in any way she could. On behalf of my brothers, myself, and her grandchildren, I want to thank the Faculty of Science for recognizing Eira Babs Friesen as an honored alumni. I know that being honored by the university in this way would have had a special meaning for her. Her university years were very happy ones, and she was always terribly proud of the education she received at the University of Manitoba. Thank you.
Ken Standing's physics teacher at Daniel McIntyre Collegiate advised him to study physics at the University of Manitoba. Interrupted by a year in the Navy for war service, he went on to Princeton and did a PhD in nuclear physics. Ken returned to Manitoba to build a cyclotron in a large area under Parking Lot A. The research was very successful, but was constrained by the space available. Maybe something smaller was needed. His application to the National Research Council for a small grant to build a mass spectrometer was rejected because he had no experience in mass spectrometry and only a graduate student help. So they built one anyway. In the earliest time of flight instruments, a small molecule was spotted at one end of a long metal tube. Vacuum was applied, the sample was ionized and then detected at the other end of an electric field. The time it or its fragments took to reach the detector in nanoseconds was related to their mass. Big things took longer. That first U of M instrument was about 1 meter long, with a limited mass range. The second instrument was twice as long and able to measure the mass of individual peptides, which are the building blocks of proteins. Major improvements in sample application, electronics, and computer technology were incorporated as they became available, resulting in instruments with more precision, a much larger mass range, and not taking up any more floor space. These instruments were not like the ones you see on CSI. There were no fancy covers, no instruction manuals, and no warranty. Some components came from the obsolete cyclotron or were custom built in the machine shop in the Department of Physics. Design innovations were patented, developed commercially, and provided research income to the lab and to the university. When Ken retired in 1995, his group was a world leader in mass spectrometry instrumentation and application. Ken continued working well into his 80s, always up to date on the literature and looking for challenging material for analysis. In 2003, his group was honored after they sequenced the coat protein of the SARS virus. He would not have hesitated to try the same approach to the proteins of COVID-19. Ken was renowned for his friendliness, generosity, and impish humor. He had great ability to recognize talent, and he mentored, encouraged, and inspired many students. Some of his mentees gained careers in industry, others became university professors, and one won a Nobel Prize. Ken never let himself be deterred by a lack of knowledge or by daunting obstacles. His attitude to science might be summed up by his asking the question, "I wonder what would happen if?" He would then learn the skills and recruit those with expertise to help answer the question, often with world-changing results.